as well, but I first want to echo some of the words that have already been said on the bigger picture. Yesterday, I think as everyone knows, Canada and India formally re-established diplomatic relations in the appointment of high commissions from each country. And the reason that's so important is because India, within a couple of years, will be the third largest economy in the world. It is now the fourth. It has displaced Japan, and it will displace Germany, which is currently the third. So that's very significant. And while bilateral relations, as have been reestablished, trade agreements, memorandums of understanding are all important. What really underpins that, of course, is the business-to-business and the people-to-people relationships. And that is something that everyone in this room is part of, and you're in a unique position to help build. And here in southwestern Ontario, we have the Tech Triangle. We've got the second largest nuclear plant in the world, Bruce Power, just a couple hours down the highway. We've got, of course, a strong manufacturing base. And so there are all these opportunities, but we know, as has been said, that we no longer have a reliable trading partner south of the border. And so we have to diversify our markets. And India is obviously an important one. We can no longer be 77% dependent on one country for trade. It makes no sense to have all your eggs in one basket, and particularly now. And there's been underutilized free trade agreements that exist. There's others that are being pursued with other countries, and more to come. So I would hope that given the bonds and the history that Canada and India share, there'll be far more opportunities in all sorts of sectors. Because right now, we export wood, pulp, coal, a lot of lentils and chickpeas, pulse crops from Western Canada to India. But while we have sold some CANDU reactors that are in use, that's still only 3 or 4% of the grid in India. So we have many more opportunities, and obviously, in terms of IT, there's lots of synergies. Let me just quickly note a few of the federal programs that are available to any of our offices, or the MP or MPP in your area. They'll also happily direct you. So, under the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, which is very focused on southwestern Ontario, there are many. There's a program called My Main Street. There's many sector-by-sector programs. But there's also, and I was at the annual meeting yesterday morning for one of the Community Futures Development Corporations. And there are 21 of those across southwestern Ontario. I was at the one for Brantford and Brant County, and it's called Enterprise Brant. And they provide up to $250,000 in loans. They provide business counseling and a number of resources. In fact, and that's supported by the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. In fact, in the 37 years that they've been in existence, they've provided multi-million dollars in loans, and they estimate that 3,786 jobs have been created as a result of that. So, and they had a few different business owners. One that started as a startup 10 years ago, and through the initial seed money and startup loan has now prospered 10 years later. And then they had another that after the pandemic needed to expand in their sector, sought the support of this agency, and was able to really grow their business. The other thing that exists in federal level is the Export Development Corporation, which is undertaking $5 billion in help for exporters, so that's certainly something to take advantage of. And of course, the government of Ontario has a number of programs, Digital Main Street and legal advice, and a number of training and grants. But I want to close just by coming full circle, and it's about meeting the moment. Because Canada is a country blessed with so many resources. We've got 9% of the world's forests. We've got most of the fresh water. We've got potash, uranium, critical minerals. In fact, we have 6% of the world's lithium, but we don't mine any currently. We import it from the Congo, where it's mined by child labor, which makes no sense. We've got the third largest reserves of oil and the fifth largest reserves of natural gas. But most importantly, we have smart, talented, connected people. And so that is what we need to harness. That is all of you. If we think about competing in the IT sector, for example, building AI centers or data centers in Ontario with reliable energy, in part because of the nuclear, which provides 62% of our grid, and the ability to produce more reliable energy. We also have a natural advantage in that we have a cool climate, so we can compete with Austin, Texas, and Silicon Valley, and bring that here, but that has a multiplier effect to all of the small businesses. There are many businesses in my constituency that supply the larger manufacturing corporations and the larger resource sector. So it's really time to meet the moment. 2025 was a wake-up call in that perspective. You were certainly all at the forefront, and so we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you very much.